So.
Question from David Lugan. By practicing what you just explained to reach Paramātmā realization with chanting, does this help us reach Brahman realization and later Bhagavan realization?
No, it's specific to that realization. The technique I used for Brahman realization was completely different. And Bhagavan realization also completely different.
That's it from the chat.
Yes. Just to follow up on that question immediately was that do we have to have these different techniques for these different stages, or is it, if we just chant Hare Kṛṣṇa, all these things will come along the way?
Probably. I didn't do that way. I did different techniques for the different realizations according to what I was going through at that time in my life. I have to be honest, If I was just going to say what what my godbrothers wanted me to say, I'd say, yeah, just by chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, you'll get all these other things. And that's what the Vedas say. But that wasn't my experience. Now, you have to understand that I was in an association of devotees that was deeply corrupt. And I was hearing all kinds of misinterpretations of the Vedas. So I had to go off by myself and start all over again from scratch. And this was part of my starting all over again, was to go through all these yogic processes and things that I had done before. And plus, by that time, I had studied Qigong and, so many other things. So, I wish I could say, yeah, just chant and you'll get everything. And that's true, you will get everything. And I'm certain, absolutely certain, that the results I got from those techniques would not have been possible without having chanted. 100% certain of that. Okay? Now, of course, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam advises that we chant without stopping. Constant chanting of the holy name according to the ways of the great souls is the path to complete deliverance. It's right there in the first canto. First canto, 5th chapter, verse 12. But also, if you read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it contains so many descriptions of other processes besides chanting. The prayovrata vows, the process of Sankhya, the yogic process of merging the elements of the body back into the totality of elements that Dhritarashtra went through. There's on and on and on. There's so many different processes. Some of them are practical to do in today's situation, and others are not practical at all. Like Dhruva Maharaj going to the forest and eating dry leaves for 6 months and then not breathing. Not practical. In Satya Yuga, yes, not now. So, the way I understand this is that these processes are ancillary to chanting. Okay, the Vedic scriptures say that there are many, many different yogic processes, but the value or the potency of all of those processes comes from chanting the holy name of the Lord, especially in Kali Yuga. So, my experience is probably unique. I'd be the first person to say, don't follow this path. Because it was an outgrowth of a situation that, by necessity, I had to find my own way. I was thrown on my own resources by the situation, by the time. I had no choice. I couldn't find anybody who I could follow after Prabhupada disappeared. See, so of course Prabhupada was still appearing to me in dreams and stuff like that from time to time, and I was still chanting. But I did these other processes because it's like I was inspired to. It's just like now when I get an inspiration that, oh, we should do daily Darshan webcast, or I get an inspiration to read the Nectar of Devotion and comment on it, or I get an inspiration to, go to Chile and start a community, or, some other crazy thing that, who would imagine? When I follow those inspirations, I find that things work out. And if I resist them or ignore them, then it's like they come back again and again until I follow them. It's like the Lord is very persistent, saying, do this, try this, do that. So this was the same kind of a thing. It was a very deeply intuitive kind of thing that I was drawn to this particular method, this particular book, at that particular time. And so I would never recommend that, as a general rule, people should try to follow that process. It was just what I needed at that particular time, in that situation. Seeing, with my experience of seeing the whole ISKCON go corrupt and fall apart and get tripped out and everything. And then my girlfriend at that time was a Rajneeshi. That's how I got this book. And I saw the same thing going on in the Rajneesh group. And I said to her, look, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. And you'll see the drug dealing will be exposed and blah, 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 blah. I told her everything. And then it all happened. Boom, 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 boom. And she goes, how did you know that? Well, these are the things that happen in Kali Yuga to organize religious groups. Well, it just comes with the territory. So anyway, somehow or other, through that connection, I got this book. And I was reading the book and I was like, wow, I'd like to try that. And I did, and it worked. But because I have no attraction to Hatha Yoga or any of that stuff. This was, or Zen, or what's that, Vipassana, or any of that stuff. It's like dry. Don't even tell me about it. I don't want to hear about it. But this particular method, just it was like that was the thing that was the medicine that I needed at that particular time to undo so much of the stuff that had happened to me. So, yeah, but like I said, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I would recommend that you chant the holy name and you follow your own inner voice, your own authentic intuition, your own spiritual inspiration. You have to find your way, just like I found my way. There's no cut and dry, one-size-fits-all, universal method or path, except to chant the holy name. That's essential. You have to chant it. But then you have to find your own path. You have to use your intelligence. You have to find Super Soul within and follow his direction. That's part of this whole thing. See? And if somebody tells you, no, just do this ritual and do this process and join this group and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that's not going to work. There's no universal one path that works for everybody, because everybody's disease is slightly different. See? It's just like if you go to the doctor, then he makes a prescription just for you. And you can't say, oh, my friend took this other medicine, I'm going to take that medicine. No, because that diagnosis is not your diagnosis. So similarly, yes, chanting is going to be part of it. Chanting is going to be the ultimate process that brings you to Bhagavan realization. But how do you become qualified to chant purely? You see, this is a very intricate question. Because we have to, like I say, take back all those little pieces of ourselves that we have invested in all of these other things. Identification. And how do we do that? Well, I think that's the part that has to be unique to the individual. How do you qualify yourself? How do you purify yourself? How do you prepare yourself to chant purely? Once you get to that point of chanting purely, then we can say, oh yes, it's going to be just like this, like this, like this. And that's given in Nectar of Devotion especially. But how do you get to that point? Well, I think a lot of it depends on circumstances. A lot of it depends on your individual makeup. I wish there was an easier answer, but
no, it's fine.